Hi, in this video, we will discuss about scope of the variable. There are three scopes for a variable, which is local variable and instance variable and class variable. Why is scope so important is scope helps in controlling access to variables and methods, limiting the exposure to only the parts of the program that need them. It also promotes the encapsulation. So let's say, for example, you will wanted to program something called a school, and then you will wanted to have some different type of staffs who could enter the school. So that could be the security whose access will be only limited to the exterior of the school, and you will have the your physical trainers who would have only access to the playground, and you will have some staffs who will have access to the drawing room, library. Similarly, you will not want your program to give the same access to every staff that is going to be going to the school. Similarly, if you will wanted to connect that to what I'm trying to say in terms of variable and scope, your scope will help you to promote the encapsulation, which is a core principle in the object-oriented programming. If a variable is only needed inside a method, making it local will keep it secure from changes from anywhere else. For example, let's see in the one that we are watching in this program, which is like you have this class order, and in this you have a variable called order ID, and you have a variable called personal ID, and that is a method which is having eat, which is also taking a parameter, and it is also having a variable called total order inside. So if you look at this method, you have two parameters in it, and there is also a method to print these two parameters. This number of order and this total order is your local variable. So all those changes that is going to happen to this variable is going to happen only within this block. Like from year to year, whatever changes will happen, only that could uh, do the changes for this and update, and the scope is only within that block. Now if you take this order ID, this order ID is going to be your class variable. So as long as this class is there, it is going to be there whenever this class is called, and when I'm going to refer to this order ID, the value is going to be this one. And for this, to access this order ID, I will not have to create any object. Let me tell you the example of what do I mean by that. And then I have this my personal ID, which is a instance variable. So this scope is from the declaration until the object garbage is collected. Now let's try to demonstrate what I mean by that. Let's call the system ID. And now I wanted to refer this order ID. So in order to refer that, now if you see this is a different class, which is demo scope, order dot order ID. All I did is just call this order ID directly without calling the class. Now let's try to print it. So I'm able to access it without even creating an object for it. Because it is static, whose scope is going to be from the declaration until the program is going to be end. Now similarly, let's copy this and try to put here. Let's see if I can refer this my personal ID. I cannot. So it says non-static field cannot be referred from a static constant, because this is not a static variable, which is this is not a class variable. So this is going to be an instance variable. This is also a class variable, but this is a variable which is also an instance variable. In the sense you will have to create an object to access this. So change this to instance variable and then access it. So let me try to mark it here. This is class variable. This is instance variable. Now these two things are my local variables. So what do I mean by local? Then let's try to create another method and see if it can make use of the ID. So if you see, I will be getting a compiler error, and it says I will have to create a variable called total order again, because the program cannot really understand that this is there in the previous method, because that is a local variable, it cannot. Whereas if I wanted to refer the my personal ID, it will work, because it is inside the class and it is an instance variable. So it is going to be available for me throughout this class. Inside any method, I will be able to use this thing, and I will be also able to reassign it. Let's try to assign it as, let's put to. Not just that, we will also be able to access order ID. Now let's call the methods. And for this, I will have to pass some value. And another one is demo. And let's run. So if you look at this demo method, it is printing my personal ID, and then it is printing my order ID, which is 10011. So long story short, your scope is going to define a variable or a method can be accessed. It also helps in preventing naming conflicts. So for example, you could have the same variable name inside a method and also inside your class. Uh, so in order to make some difference, you can have a different name inside your method name rather than using the same class variable name or the instance name. So you will be able to prevent naming conflicts, protecting data from unauthorized changes, or like memory, managing memory and making code easier to maintain and less prone to errors. And so yeah, that is it for the scope video. Thank you.